they are very much concerned about their superpower status, the only superpower in the world. So they are afraid of somehow the status being replaced by China. One of the major features of the U.S. pivot to Asia strategy is to redeployment of 60% of its military forces, basically naval and air forces, to Asia Pacific region. The United States had a new military base in Darwin, Australia. They had a new military bases in Philippines. They renewed their military relationship with Singapore and strengthened military ties with Vietnam. And probably that's one of the reasons, because the U.S. strengthened the military presence. Somehow the Philippines, the Vietnam, they are emboldened to challenge China in terms of their territorial disputes with China.
This video is going to be a little bit different, because in this video we are going to raise many why questions. Why this particular event is taking place? Why this event is taking place right now? How this particular event is related to a big picture, I mean a big plan of the global agenda. I want to start with the YouTube. I am pretty sure that most of you already know that there is something wrong with YouTube. Recently, YouTube has updated its algorithm, which has more than 1 million lines of code. As always, YouTube is not disclosing what happened, and nobody knows what is really going on with YouTube. It looks like that YouTube has changed the method how videos are being distributed on YouTube. There are many people on YouTube who are saying the same thing, that their suggested video views has dropped from 30, 40 and sometimes 50%. Those views has dropped to below 1%. What is the real agenda behind YouTube changing its algorithm this way? Have you observed that on YouTube you see many old videos and you see less of new videos? Why YouTube is promoting old videos? One answer it could be that when something big will hit a fan, YouTube is getting ready to block off new videos. And YouTube will still be able to make advertising money from old videos. This is a perfect example of YouTube blocking a video which had some real truth in it. When we had multiple earthquakes shaking the ground not far from California, and one particular earthquake was not far from the San Andreas fault line, I wonder why they are training to invade California. This training clearly shows that these soldiers are training to invade California. Are they preparing for a big earthquake to hit California? The earthquake hitting California, it could be the perfect scenario to establish martial law before or after the dollar collapse. When I say dollar collapse, I mean countries like China, Japan, Russia, Iran, Saudi Arabia and many other countries will stop using dollar officially as a currency for international trade. This break away from using the dollar will happen in a single day out of nowhere. Just keep in mind that when the dollar will collapse, the most important thing will be not gold, not silver, but the number of missiles in the nation's arsenal. I was telling you many times in my previous videos that the global control system is collapsing. In fact, we live in the last days of the old global control system, and many governments around the world are preparing to become free from the old global control system. It is no secret any longer that the global control system was and still is controlling many constitutions around the world by overthrowing governments and installing a constitution that makes that particular country a colony of the United States. Why do you think that we have so many constitutional referendums coming in our world? There will be the most important constitutional referendum in Turkey, in Russia and in other countries. Then we had a constitutional referendums in Italy and in UK. If you look at those events as a single event, it will mean very little. But if you look at the big picture, these small puzzles represent a falling apart global control system. I like Gerald Celente saying, when everything else will fail, they'll take you to war. This is the number of US military bases surrounding China. This map, it looks very similar to NATO military bases on Russian border. With dozens of US military bases encircling China and America's historic nuclear presence in the Pacific region, a war between the greatest military power and the world's second largest economy is no longer unthinkable. The threat of South China Sea becoming big news again. The media is beating the drums of war as the world is being primed to regard China as a new enemy. I smell the same technology being used again and again and again. You know, the mainstream media says that Russia is the main enemy of the humanity. Now we have mainstream media saying that China is the new enemy of the humanity.
China has been accused of fresh aggression in the South China Sea, this time by an influential American think tank, the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Let's now get more from RT's Emily Sue. Hi there, Emily. Well, give us more details on this dispute.
Well, Marina, if we take a look at the screen behind us, this may just look like a bunch of boring rocks and reefs in the middle of the sea, but they're actually located in one of the next potential global flashpoints of conflict. The Spratly Island chains located in the South China Sea are claimed by China, Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Taiwan. And the reason why everybody wants their slice is because this region is very rich in resources. It's also one of the busiest shipping routes in the world. Every day, over 10 million barrels of oil are being transported across the sea. And that is the reason why the territorial disputes here has led to an ongoing war of words between some of the world's biggest powers.
Provocative and destabilizing act which would automatically raise tensions.
We don't stir up trouble, but we're not afraid of trouble. China will not swallow a bitter pill and will never allow our sovereignty and secure rights to be infringed.
The South China Sea dispute worsened over the past 2 months after an international court at The Hague rejected China's territorial claims in the South China Sea and ruled in favor of the Philippines. Now, this looks like a dispute between China and the Philippines, but the country that's really pulling the strings behind the scenes is miles and miles and miles away, the United States. Not only is the U.S. a treaty ally with the Philippines, it has long stressed on the importance to maintain a military presence in the region as part of its pivot to Asia strategy.
It is a legally binding tribunal decision, and our expectation was before it was made and is now after it's made that all claimants are going to abide by it.
These are these satellite images purporting to show an increasing Chinese military buildup on the Spratly Islands. At the same time, another U.S. media outlet has accused China of launching a stealth invasion in the region after China deployed hundreds of vessels to patrol the Senkaku Islands or the Diaoyu Islands, which is claimed by China and Japan. So essentially what we're seeing here is the U.S. constantly accusing China of increasing military tensions in the region when they're the ones who's interfering with territorial disputes literally 8,000 miles away.
South Korea has plunged into a political scandal that has engulfed the presidency of Park Geun-hye, as we've seen millions of protesters taking to the streets of South Korea. Lawmakers in South Korea have voted to impeach the president by a vote of 234 to 56, taking away her executive powers. A court will now decide whether she should be kicked out of the office. Why we have this event taking place in South Korea? The perfect example was Ukraine. Exactly the same thing happened in Ukraine. On top of that, the same technology was used to remove from power the president of Korea and to remove from power the president of Ukraine. My point is that when the president in Ukraine was removed, immediately after that event, what happened in Ukraine? The military conflict has started. When we had 40 million Russians taking part in a massive exercise, roughly at the same time we had many governments in Europe telling to its citizens to prepare for something big, but those government officials would not tell us what is coming. Now we have a government in Sweden telling to its citizens to prepare for possible war. The Swedish government has told authorities to prepare civil defense infrastructure and procedures for possible war. The move was prompted by Sweden's return to the Cold War era total defense strategy. The instruction to ramp up preparedness for an armed conflict was sent to the security chiefs by the Civil Contingencies Agency, an authority operating under the Defense Ministry and tasked with civil protection, public safety, emergency management, and civil defense. This places a high demand on operational speed, decision-making, information sharing, crisis communication, crisis management, flexibility, robustness, and handling secret information. The instruction follows the revival of the total defense strategy, which states that defending the nation from foreign aggression should involve economic and civilian measures in addition to military measures. The decision announced was explained by a worsening international situation and increased uncertainty. Now we have a government in Japan saying that Japanese people should be prepared themselves for nuclear attack, and the government is giving an advice on what to do if Kim Jong-un will press the red button. In the event of nuclear war, citizens must go to nearest underground shopping malls. Japanese government is telling the citizens how to act in an event of a nuclear war. And here we have a manual how to act in the event of a nuclear war.